Hi, it's Sandy Parker and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today I'm going to tell you some secrets about how to do diamond paintings and how to make them come out better and faster and easier and how to frame them much easier. I hope you'll stay tuned. Well, my great-nephew Finn's first birthday, as you know, was in March. I'm a little late in getting his present to him, but part of his present is this diamond painting. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what's the big deal about this? Well, I'll tell you what the big deal is. When you buy diamond paintings, you are buying them in centimeters. Normally, they're like 30 by 40, 40 by 50, 40 by 60. They're very unusual United States sizing. And if you're outside the U.S. and you have frames that fit this, this probably isn't the video for you. But if you're in the United States or in a place where 8 by 10 frames, 11 by 14 frames, I think I have a bigger one here. No, 11 by 14 is the biggest one I have to show you. Those are common sizes here. That's not the size of diamond paintings. So I'm going to show you how to avoid the problem I had in particular with this one. And let me tell you what the problem was. When I was finished with this diamond painting, and I'm leaving it in front of you like this so you can see it. When I was finished with the diamond painting, the diamonds top to bottom were probably the entire length of the frame. But side to side, it was exactly this wide. So what I had to do is I had to, and this killed me, scrape off inches of diamonds so that I could fold these under and make it so that I could frame this. So what I'm going to teach you how to do is how to avoid that going forward. Now, a nice company called Coup Deals sent me one of Finn that was from a photo. This is extremely big. I wish it was smaller so I could show you how to do this easier, but we're going to go with this anyway. The first thing you need to do when you get a diamond painting, if it comes with all these bends in it, which most of them do, is you're going to take a towel and put underneath it that's dry. You're going to flip it over. You're going to put a damp, not wet, but a little bit damp towel on this side, and then you're going to iron it until you get these wrinkles out. It's imperative that you get those wrinkles out. The next thing I would suggest you do, and I don't have a frame big enough, but I'm going to show you how it would work if I did have a frame that was big enough. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get the frame that you found, and thrift stores are great for these frames. This might work if I take off the matting, and I probably will use it. Okay, in this case, you can already see that from top to bottom, it's not as tall. Hopefully you can see this. It's not as tall as the frame. It's as wide, actually, it's wider than the frame. The frame, let me just center it so you can see exactly how bad the difference is. Okay, if I was to cut him off, I would lose this much, and that's what I'll do. But I will center it. Here's how you do it. You figure out exactly how much width you need in your frame. And I'm going to just kind of fake this for you, so as I said, because I want to make sure it's right when I do it. What you're going to want to do, again, remember, top to bottom, there is a gap. And the gap is it's about the length of, or the width of the margin. So let's say it has an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom. That means you're going to want an inch on either side, too, of dead space, so that you can have this exactly centered in your frame. The way you're going to do it is you're going to take your ruler, and I'm just doing this so you know how to do it. I bought this frame for $3 at a thrift store. I can't recommend highly enough to buy your frames at thrift store for diamond paintings. I'm going to do the width of this entire piece. It is about, let's see, that's 3.5, that's 15.5 inches wide. So I'm going to take off 2 inches because I'm going to account for this top and bottom on the sides, because I want the same margin on the sides as I have on the top and the bottom. So if I have an inch on the bottom and an inch on the top, then I need an inch on each side. So with 15.5, so we're going to take off 2 inches. That's going to make it 13.5 inches wide. So the way you're going to do that, if you have a centering ruler, which I do, it works easier, but for the purposes of our demonstration, we're going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to probably have to move my tape, but I'm going to put like a little piece of washi tape on the plastic, not on the diamond painting. I'm going to put it right there for now, because that's where my ruler started. I want to know exactly how far 13.5 inches is. And I'm going to put a little tab on this tape so I can get it, touch it, or touch it, so that I can pull it back off. That's 12 inches, and then I add another 1.5 inches, so it takes it to about right there. Okay. If you don't like how this is centered, like if you want more of this arm to show or less of this arm to show, you want, right now, if I do this, I'm hoping you can see most of his head. Right now, if I would do it like that, it would end up being like, this would be the left side margin. That's what it would look like on the left side. And on the right side, it would look like that. I'm not unhappy with that. If you like that look, and you've already ironed out all of your marks, these lines, once you've done that, what I suggest you doing is using washi tape and covering from here. Basically, you're going to do this to this entire side with washi tape, because it's easy to mess with if you have to. You want to do that to that whole side, making sure it's extremely straight so that your last line of diamonds is intact. Okay? You don't want to cut that off. You can cut some of it off, but you're going to have to fold some of that under when you frame. Now, if you've never framed a diamond painting, the way you do it is from your edge, you'll fold it. And again, this is just for demonstration purposes. It's not like I'm going to destroy Finn's image before I've gotten any further. You're going to fold this right up to that line. The very last line of your diamond, you should be able to see just the tip edge of your diamonds when it's folded down. Then you're going to want to, if it was me, I would probably cut this off at about maybe 1.5 inches to give myself some border. And I would also round my corner so that when I fold under, same thing, you're going to be getting rid of, now I don't have to get rid of any of the bottom of mine, but I do have to get rid of this white. So when you do that, again, you're going to fold it right up to that first line of diamonds. And I use tear tape and tear tape under this entire piece and tear tape it down. When you get to your corners, you need to angle cut them. I can angle cut this because I'm going to be doing it anyway. What you're going to do, now this corner is the bottom edge that will be intact, but the right margin won't be, so this cut won't really matter because, as I said, I'm going to be folding it all the way to this inside of this piece. So this is just to show you how to do it. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut on an angle, not right up to the first diamond but about, let's say, an 1/8 to a 1/16 of an inch. I'm probably too far away right there. I probably should cut it a little bit closer, maybe more like a 1/16 of an inch. Hopefully you can see that. That's what you want to do in order to really get right up there. I have made so many diamond paintings that I've ended up having to rip diamonds back off of it when I was done because I had no frames that would work with it as is. This one obviously would be included if I had not showed you how to do this. You really want to make sure that you, before you start your diamond painting, because it saves you so much work. Think of all the diamond painting hours I did that I just scraped back off. It kills you when you have to scrape them back off. So my recommendation is get as big of a diamond painting as you can. Let me explain this. Back up for a second. When you get the smallest diamond paintings, and let's say you're going to get an image, one of these photograph images that you're using, you want it to be the biggest size that you think you can do, because the smaller this is, the more distorted your image is, and the less the details show up, and the less colors they can include. And it's just, for the work you have involved, if you can afford to get a bigger one, get a bigger one. This is 50 by 50 centimeters. There's the name of the company that sent it. It was lovely of them to do it. COODEALS.com. Anyway, if you can afford to get a bigger image, I'm telling you, you will be so much happier if you do. Because the smaller the image, the more distorted the image. And the further away you have to stand before the whole image comes into focus. And I can't stress that enough. It's very, very frustrating. Again, when you put the money and the time into it, and then you look at it and you think, who's going to want to look at this? You have to stand 8 feet back before you can even figure out it's a dog. You know what I mean? Don't do that to yourself, because it'll just drive you crazy. The other thing I will tell you is I only do round diamond paintings. Now, I know there are a lot of people that say, oh, you got to do square ones because they fit, they completely, this whole background is completely covered. You don't have to worry about there's any gaps, blah, blah, blah. Let me bottom line it for you. I'm going to show you back to Finn's for his wall. These are round diamonds. If you can see the background behind it, good for you. I see that one of my diamonds moved down here, but that's not the fault. That's because when I stuck it in here and then put the frame together, I didn't check before I closed the frame down. I'll have to open it up and slide that one back up. But you should not be able to see underneath it, because the diamonds the circles are almost as big as the squares. Let me tell you why the squares are an issue for me. All diamonds are not created equally. You think to yourself, well, this is a company that all they do is make these square or round diamonds, so obviously they're all the same size. No, they're not. And when you're using those square ones, if the size is off even a teeny bit, it throws everything off. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to dig through my diamonds trying to see if something's off by like the itsy bitsyest amount. Because when it's off, your row goes off. And then when your row goes off kilter, then you're in a world of trouble. Unless, of course, you do something like they have these kinds of grids. I'm not good at using them, but I would have used the back of this piece to scrape off diamonds from that last one that I did, because the metal would be good to scrape them off. But you're supposed to be able to lay this down on your diamond painting and just put things in so everything is straight. Well, this is a round one. I never have problems with round ones, but I will tell you, I cannot stress enough how many problems I've had with square diamonds, because if the company's diamonds, even one of them, is not perfect, then you've got something that's a little bit wonky. And then here's what can happen. If it's a little too big, you can get to the point where you can't get the very last diamond in place if you work like I do. A lot of people work from the middle to the outside. I work from a bottom corner in. I bought a bunch of things from that, I think it's called Temu It's a new company, and one of them was a new one of these trays, but it's a long foam piece basically that holds these in it. And so what I do when I start is I look at this corner like this much, and I look at the numbers and the letters that are in there, and I look at their numbers. If you've never done a diamond painting, each of these is a letter or a number or a symbol. Up here is basically your grid that tells you what those all mean. Let's say in this corner, there's a 1, there's an R, there's a D, and there's a J. So what I would do is I would pull all the 1s, I would put all the R's, all the D's, and all the J's, and I'd put them in a tray. And I put them in this order. 1, and then if the R is, let's say, 3 on the number scale, I put that next, and I do them in numerical order so I remember that if they're close in color, that this one is the number 1. Or you can put, if you want to, you can put a piece of paper in here that says number 1, and then this one says number 3, and this one says number 4, or whatever. You want to make sure that you keep these in some kind of order so you don't get confused about that. Or you leave the little baggie in there, because the little baggie will have the number on it. But I find it's easiest for me if I just put them in a number order and I leave them in number order. Oh, let me tell you about framing. The last thing that's important is you always need to have some kind of mat on your frame. And a mat is, if you didn't know, is this white piece. Now you don't have to have this white piece. And it can be a solid piece. Mine are always solid. And I'll show you what I use. I just go to the Dollar Tree with my color in mind, and I just go to their poster board, and I find a color I like. And in Finn's case, for the last one I made, it was this. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to measure this piece of cardboard, top and bottom, side to side, and then you'll cut this poster board so it is that exact size. And then all you need to do is glue that in first. Then, after I've glued that in and I've cut my image to the size that folded my image to the size I want. You can see the blue all the way around. Once I've done that, then I've folded this and it's tear taped under. You can either hot glue it, you can tear tape it. You could actually hot glue this when you fold it under. This does well with hot glue underneath. And then I start by, I lay it in place, and I start, let's say I start at the bottom. I will just put a very small little bit of glue on the bottom. I lay it down and then I look at it. If I think it looks good, if it's straight, if it's, the same border all the way around, then I just continue gluing up the entire thing. Don't make the mistake of gluing the entire piece at once. You'll kill yourself for that because you'll have to rip it back off. Then you'll tear your poster board and have to start over. Just glue a very small amount. Work from that amount, make sure it's the way you want it to be, because you also have to make sure that it's not only centered on the blue, but it's also centered in this white frame. So you're going to have to put it, you're going to have to glue it to the blue backing, and then you're going to have to put the blue backing in the frame, then look at it. If it's right in the frame, if it looks straight and even and centered, then you can continue gluing. But like I said, don't glue the whole thing. You'll end up wanting to cry and quit, so don't do that. I think that was basically what I wanted to tell you about the secrets of diamond paintings that I've found along the way that make me absolutely crazy, and this will save you so much time and so much anxiety I can't even begin to tell you. I hope this gave you some ideas, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.